Hey folks, welcome. It's episode 16 of the Isle of Man Sport podcast, and we're really lucky today. We've got a bit of a dude in. We've got the one and only Brandon Cain, who is a sport aid recipient and amazing snowboarder. Welcome, Brandon. How are you?
I'm good, thanks. How about yourself?
Really good, thanks. Really good. So I've been really excited to have this chat with you, mate, because you've got quite a story, really. You know, plenty of ups and downs and turnarounds, really. And I think that's what epitomises, professional sport and performance sport. Is progress is never in a straight line. There's always going to be some bumps along the way. And I think what defines a lot of people is sort of how we react to those bumps. I think you've reacted admirably, mate. You've done really well. So, but first of all, just give us a little bit of an insight. So you're a snowboarder. What does that entail? Where do you apply your craft, and what sort of things do you get up to? Because it's got lots of nuances to snowboarding, isn't there?
Yeah. So my specific sport is snowboard cross. So I do little bits of freestyle here and there just as training stuff, and I just enjoy it. But I live in Austria for half a year, every year training and then competing across Europe, and that's basically what I spend my life doing, which is what people would think is the dream, which it really is the dream. As much effort as I put into it, it can be difficult sometimes, but I've loved snowboarding since I was, 10, 12, and then I picked it up when I hated skiing. I hated ski boots. I couldn't deal with the really thick plastic in the ski boots. So I tried snowboarding boots, and I was like, right, I want to try this. Tried it, and I was like, right, I'm never going back to skiing ever again. In fact, I skied for the first time again last year, and I was better at it, but I still was way better at snowboarding.
Couldn't wait to get back onto the board. Put those skis away forever.
I don't really want to touch them again, to be honest.
Yeah. So what sort of inspired you? Was it just trying it and having a go, or did you see other people doing it? Did anyone sort of stick out in your head?
I saw it in the X Games. I always saw it on TV and thought it was really cool. Mm-hmm. Same with skateboarding. I had skateboards when I was growing up, but I never really knew how to ride them or anything. But what kind of got me there was when I tried snowboarding, it felt natural, it felt free, so I felt like I could just do anything that I wanted to do. Mm-hmm. Whereas it didn't feel like a challenge like skiing did. And then because I did BMX racing as a kid, my dad showed me Snowboard Cross on TV, and also showed me Zoe Gillings, who's also from here. So that kind of sparked my interest a tiny bit, but I didn't really know much about it. I didn't really look into it or anything. I just kind of saw it as a hobby. But then when I was in college, my dad found it was an article or a post somewhere about trials for like British tryouts, basically. Mm-hmm. At the time, because it was a bit of a mess with politics in the sport and all sorts of stuff. So that at the time was kind of like the British tryouts, and I went on a week camp, and then they said, we'd like to take you on. So I was like, right, sweet. So then from there, I basically finished college, went straight to Austria for my first full season. That first full season was like, I'll feel it out and see how I feel about it, and then if I get nowhere, so what, I've had a good time. If I do get somewhere, then great, I've got a new sport that I'd like to pursue. So that's kind of where it wasn't really, I wasn't inspired by anything, it was just kind of just enjoyment, really. Yeah.
Excellent, yeah. So spurned out of wanting to do something
which is
cool.
Which is what I think all sport should be for everyone. Like, if you don't enjoy it, you shouldn't be doing it.
Absolutely. Yeah. No, that's fantastic. I mean, you touched on BMX there as well. I believe you're pretty decent on the bike as well.
Yeah. So I did quite well as I was growing up with BMX. I was always up an age group and everything. Just was doing quite well, and I think my best result was like top 8 in the UK. with barely any training, and I was just riding here and then going away, whereas everyone else across would have training sessions once, twice a week, and I just didn't have access to any of that. And then I got to about 16 and GCSE started, so I didn't have time to go away and compete, so it kind of fizzled out from there. But I had a lot of potential in the sport, but it was just kind of the wrong time for it to come about, especially with my exams and stuff, and then my parents couldn't fund it or anything, and that's kind of where the snowboarding I've picked up more enthusiasm and more like go for the snowboarding, because I can afford it myself, and I can fund myself to do it rather than having to rely on my parents or something.
Yeah.
So I feel like whatever I put into it, I can get out of it. Yeah.
Well, I know personally you're a grafter. So just give us a little bit of insight as to what sort of work you do that helps to fund your sport.
So at the minute I'm fully self-employed as a videographer, so I do film and edit. And then last year was pretty crazy. I was working 4 jobs last year. I was working in a bar, I was working helping kitting vans out. I was doing valeting. It's just everything under the sun. I could get my teeth into to get money to go away. I did, but thankfully, in the last year or so, I've managed to pick up some really, really good sponsors. One of them being PokerStars, which are the massive help. But that came after obviously a lot of grafting in the sport as well. Ironman Sport have been my like number one like supporter for the last like 5 years now, pretty much. And I couldn't say a bad word about them. They do everything. They're just insane.
So Ironman Sport, I mean, what sort of support do they give you, and how's that worked for you?
So,
what sort of benefits have you found you've got from that?
I've been in the gym since the start of it. Like because I reached out to Ironman Sport in the first place with my dad, with a bit of help from him, and I basically paid for my first 2 months. I paid I think it was like 60 quid or something for like 2 days a week to have a trainer and access to the gym, and I was just like, well, that's worth it for me if that shows my dedication, and I think Chris saw the dedication in me. I was always turning up. I never missed a session, and I was just always wanting to do it. And basically, after that, I've basically not stopped training every summer at least, with you, Ben, Andy, and Sean all in the gym every year. Like, I see all of you guys every year, at least once a week. But yeah, the training programs that I've had have been second to none. They've always benefited me. I've never had no benefits from a program, which is, I think, a pretty good track record regarding Ironman Sport. So, and then obviously there's Sean, sports psychologist, Ruth, the physio. I've seen Hannah, the dietitian, as well. But having a physio pretty much on hand. You can get a session within 2-3 weeks at longest period. Is pretty good going, because physios cost a bomb. They do. And if you need multiple physio sessions, which is one thing I'm going through at the minute, is little niggles here and there. I'm needing to see her every 3 or 4 weeks, and otherwise, if I didn't have that, then it'd be burning a hole in my pocket.
So the support is more than just handouts of money, isn't it? It's having a support team around you, isn't it?
Yeah, and it's also it's not just that physical support. It's like even just having a chat. It's like having new people around you, and people that are kind of in the know about sport in general. There's always like. There's never a question I can ask that won't go unanswered. So even if none of the guys directly know here, because I've come to multiple, what are they called? When someone comes in and then talks.
A workshop.
Workshops, that's the one. So I've gone to multiple workshops, and I've met people who have done the workshops, and I did a little bit of filming for you over the last couple of years, and I've met people at those as well that have helped me, even just small bits and bobs here and there. So it's the whole atmosphere of everyone to do with Ironman sport knows a lot about it, and I think that's pretty crucial to becoming a healthy, well-rounded athlete, not just physically, just all together.
Absolutely.
So
it's the physical, the mental,
the whole, the
technical
whole
and the tactical. Bringing it all together. Excellent. So what sort of bumps along the road have you encountered, Brandon? Because we know the big one, but what sort of things have sort of challenged your progress in the sport?
Well, in sport in general, I've had a lot of knocks along the way, because I don't really like to do kind of half-efforted things. I like to just fully put myself out there, and if something works, it works. If it doesn't, and I hurt myself, then that's a learning curve. You learn from where you fail, essentially, and that's kind of how I've learned everything growing up in sport in general. I've broken so many bones doing BMX. It's countless. The amount of ligament injuries and muscle stuff I've done, it's just kind of become a part of routine. That's what sport is getting up and just going again, and you build up a resilience quite well, really. But the main kind of turning point was when I was about 18, when you started to become an adult, and your body's not as bouncy as it used to be when you were 10. And stuff hurts. When you fall, it hurts a lot. And my first annoying injury that I had in the sport was probably when I broke my foot. So I broke my foot when I was in my first season, and I didn't know it was broken at first. I just kept going. I was like, it's just sprained, it'll be fine. And I raced on it, and then I went to see the hospital the week later because it was still giving me pain. And they're like, we can't do anything now because, it's too late to put a cast or anything on it. Just take it easy. But that bothered me for about 4 or 5 months, and that was it. 4 or 5 months. It's essentially not at full, at full potential. It's just frustrating, and that brings a lot of mental stuff with it. It's this is what I could be doing, but I'm not. And from that point, I actually learned when and where to rest myself, because I used to be all go, all everything, gung ho the lot, and that was when I first learned that recovery is more powerful than training. It's way more powerful than training. And then what else was there? I've had multiple concussions and whatnot, because that's just that's just how the sport goes, pretty much.
Part and parcel of these crazy sports. Yeah,
wear a helmet no matter what sport you do, even if it's tennis. Concussions are a big one, because that's your brain, that's how your body functions, and protect your brain. Just do it, whether that's through mental health or that's through physical protection. What else have I done? Other than losing my spleen, that was probably the biggest change in life, I think, for
Absolutely.
me. It was
how did that happen?
Oh my god, that's so I was just, it was a week off training. So me and my roommate Hugh, we went riding. He's good at freestyle, so he was teaching me freestyle that week. So we went up and we were just having a good day. I was doing 360s, backflips, stuff like that, and just having a really good day. I took multiple knocks, but nothing that would stop me doing it again. Mm-hmm. I'd be like, right, again, I could tweak it here. This will make it better. Had lunch, and then we were like, right, we'll do a couple more runs and then we'll head home. So we had a couple more runs, went to grab our bags, went up to the top of the small park, which is for kids learning stuff. And I've been learning board slides and all sorts of stuff, which way you go sideways on rails and things like that.
Yeah.
So I went and I decided, you know what, I'll play it safe. I'm going home. I'll just ride directly straight over this. And I rode directly straight, and it chucked me forward at the end. My board either caught on it, or there was something on it that caught me, and it chucked me forward, and I landed sideways, kind of on my elbow on the snow into my side, which I didn't know at the time had popped my spleen pretty much instantly.
Ooh.
Yeah. So the spleen had ended up kind of cutting the line of my stomach, which made me internally bleed in there, and then the pressure eventually in hospital burst my appendix. But I because being stupid pretty much, I wasn't really listening to my body at that point.
Yeah.
I was like, I've had a good day, I'd be fine. It was a small fall. There's nothing going to be wrong. It was only small. Don't worry about it. I thought I was just winded, so I got back up, went to lift and everything, and went to the toilet. I was like, right, I'm not weeing blood, so I must be fine. Got all the way home. I was like, still feel really uncomfortable here. And it was about 5 hours later, I decided to call an ambulance, because I was like, something's not right. I'm getting stabbing pains. That's internal bleeding. I think I might have messed myself up here. So I called an ambulance. I started passing out and whatnot in the ambulance from loss of blood. They put me on a drip and stuff at the local hospital, and then I passed out again when they tried to X-ray me. So I took on another. I think it was like 2 liters of insulin. What's it called? It was like not insulin, glucose drip. Yeah, that was it. It was like a glucose drip, about 2 liters bag of that I just consumed completely. Within like 10 minutes, they just put it on the maximum drip that it could. And they're like, right, we've got to take you to the main hospital, because we think you seriously need to get it sorted. So they put me in the Blues and Twos van down the motorway to the main hospital, and I started passing out and whatnot in there.
Dear.
And at that point, I was like, right, that's not good. And then I managed. They got me out of the van, out of the ambulance, into the ultrasound room, I think it was, and they just had a look around. Like, right, we need to operate. I was like, hang on, you what? What?
Weren't expecting that.
No, it was. I was like, okay, right, that's not good. Then they put me through to I think it's a CT scan, something like that. Basically, they pump your veins full of something so they can see through to see what's wrong. And I just started throwing up in that, because my body was just having a reaction to everything. And then they were like, sign this. I was like, what? So I signed for my own operation there and then on my own stomach. And then at that point, everything was kind of going orangey and like slow motion and stuff. And I was like, I'm gonna die. I was like, okay, right, I've messed myself that bad that I'm dead here. I actually accepted that I'm dead at this point, which is not good for anyone's mental health afterwards anyway. So yeah, it was like, it must have been 30 seconds or something. It felt like an hour. That 30 seconds was the longest 30 seconds of my life, probably. Went into the operation room. They put the gas masky thing on me, and I just fell straight asleep. I didn't even have to count. I just went, and then I just woke up at like 3 a.m, just like, what the hell's happening? Yeah, just in a bed.
Oh, it's got to be a scary experience.
Yeah,
crikey.
It was weird. It was a bit surreal. But once I was awake, I was like, right, I'm fine. I've done that now. Yeah. I'm good.
Crikey. Yeah. So then, how soon after that were you sort of back in the Isle of Man?
I came home. I was in hospital for 10 days, and it was just a boring time in hospital, to be honest, because the Olympics was on at the time.
Oh, no.
So I actually watched Zoe do border cross at the Olympics when I was in hospital, which was good because no one else got to see it because they were training. So I managed to watch it in hospital. And then I got out of hospital, I think it was on the 28th or something, and the Ironman Sport Awards was on the 1st. So I got out of hospital on the 25th, and I flew home on the 28th, ready for the Sport Awards. by this point I dropped about 10, maybe 15 kilograms.
Crikey.
And it was I was so light, and I was a couple of organs lighter as well.
Yeah.
But I was back. I don't know. I started walking properly again within like 15 days, and then I couldn't really drive or anything because it was just too much of a jolt over bumps and stuff. But then 3 weeks later, it was my birthday, and I was like, I don't want to do anything else other than snowboard on my birthday. That's what I want to do every year. Is I want to snowboard every year. And I was like, well, what's the next closest thing? Skateboarding. So I went skateboarding 3 weeks later after nearly dying.
Oh, my life.
It was like a big 28 staple scar down my stomach. And I was like, I just got to be careful. It'll be fine. Don't worry about it. But they said don't do anything for a month. Yeah. So I signed off it for a month. And I just thought, you know what? Why not? Like, I've had enough. I just want to enjoy myself. And then I came back into the gym about 5 weeks later, and I started doing like body weight only stuff, and then cardio to get my fitness back up. And then I was kind of doing a full program 8 weeks later, and then I was back at full strength about 3 months. 3 months later.
I mean, you were really putting in a shift in the gym there.
Oh, yeah.
It was, as coaches, we had to sort of
stop me.
Pull the reins back for fear of you doing some damage. Yeah. But your mentality was just you wanted to get back where you were as soon as you could.
And I did. And then because I basically overtrained myself that summer because I skateboarded a lot to make up the difference in lack of snow time. And then in the gym, I was in the gym 4 days a week for about 2 months solid. I didn't miss a day for about 2 months. And it was, that's all I was focused on was just training over and over again. Yeah. And it turned out I trained so hard that I underestimated how much I trained. Because when I went back on snow, I was so much better than the previous year. Because I was like, this is what I want. This is everything I want. But yeah, that there was like an eye opener for me of how much training outside of your sport affects your sport. Yeah, absolutely.
It's multifaceted, isn't it?
Yeah,
performance.
Absolutely. And cross people don't really like cross training sports, do they? People kind of say, "Oh, you don't want to get injured doing this other thing for your main sport." I think all sports linked. You know, sport at the end of the day, and you know if you're doing something somewhere else, it's going to benefit the other sport too. Yeah. Everything's interlinked in some way.
A lot of transferable skills and movements.
And everything pretty much. You know, you think, for example, snowboarding and archery. You know, you think that's two complete ends of the spectrum. You know, but if you think about it, something in archery like your ability to be precise with small movements, you know, that can transfer directly into snowboarding. And then with snowboarding, you could transfer it back to just being able to do things quickly, you know, be able to just line something up and shoot could be, you know, that could help it.
Yeah, balance and proprioception.
Everything, so everything's interlinked, and I'm pretty sure I spoke to Ben about it yesterday, actually, in the gym, about, you know, doing, there's some things that you do that you never think in a million years would help you do better in a certain situation in a sport, and the weirdest things can. So yeah, anyone that's got a trainer, listen to them. They know what they're talking about.
Excellent. So what's the future got for you ahead then, Brandon? Where you're up to now? When do you head back out on the snow?
I'm meant to head back out the end of September. The start of the season is going to be 1st of October. Whether that happens yet, I don't know. It might be middle October yet, I'm not sure. I might end up leaving it a couple of weeks for the other people in the UK so they can kind of self-isolate without me, just in case any of them have got that nasty COVID virus.
Well, I suppose you're more vulnerable now.
A little bit with my spleen. But yeah, so I did my first World Cup last year, which was like the first life goal I've set out for myself ever.
Yeah.
And that's kind of where my hopes and goals lie for this season is, I want to get to a point where I'm comfortable at World Cup. So now I've done a World Cup, I know what it's like. I'm planning to step back to the European Cups and then work super hard on those and get them to a point where I'm qualifying at every single one of them, doing at least top 16 at most of them. If it's like a super stacked field, top 32 I'll be happy with. But yeah, that's kind of where this season lies, if everything goes ahead race-wise. If not, if no races go ahead, it just gives me more time to prepare and train harder. And then obviously the bigger picture is the Olympics. That's the big goal for me now is, I've got, 3 Olympics to aim for in my near future, I suppose. Because the good thing about snowboarding is it's about experience, not about initial ability. Because there's people on the circuit 40 to 45 still going,
so you have quite a bit of longevity in the sport at a high level.
So as long as you look after your body and look after yourself, then you can go forever. That's how people have done for Olympics, like Zoe's done. That's just
well, it's great. It makes you realise that there's so much. It's achievable. And it's you can play the long game. So it's often in sport, a lot of people can be looking for that instant gratification, but it's being able to keep developing, also, isn't it?
People
moving forward.
Like to kind of go, well, I haven't been able to do it now, so I'm not going to be able to do it. But it's not about what you actually achieve in the sport. It's what you achieve for yourself and how much enjoyment you find for yourself. Because that actually turned my whole sport career around, was forgetting that it's a sport and it's a competition and having fun. Because after my injury, my first race back, my coach was just like, Brandon, don't worry where you come, just enjoy it. And I was like, all right, cool, yeah, I'll just enjoy it. So I was messing about. I wasn't taking anything seriously, and I ended up on the first of the 2 race days. I could have gone through to the top 8, and I was in second, which would have got me through. And I was like, I saw first, and I was like, I'll do it. I'll try and overtake him, just because I wanted to. Just 'cause I was like, that'll be fun. And I overcooked a jump too far, and I landed like in the middle of a ditch between 2 jumps. Just stopped me dead, basically. And I sat up, and I was like, oh well, whatever. I enjoyed that. That was worth my time. I went back up to the top, and my coach was like, Brandon, what are you doing? And I was like, having fun. And he was like, fair enough. And then the second day, I took a tiny bit more seriously. I thought, right, well, I could have done well yesterday. I'll enjoy it again and just see where it takes me. I ended up coming third. I ended up getting on the podium. And that there was like, okay, that's what the sport's about. Sport is not about winning at all. It's about enjoying it. And whatever comes after that that's the best you're ever going to perform, is if you're having fun. So, yeah. Some
wise words there, Brandon.
Absolutely.
For anyone, fantastic. Yeah. Well, we'll bring that to a close now, mate. That was fantastic, and thanks for sharing your story.
That's all right. Good,
with our
good to have a chat. Yeah.
And I wish you all the best of luck.
Thank you very
for
much.
your season going ahead.
Yeah.
But more than anything, I wish you all the best of luck and continuing to enjoy your sport
I will do.
To the max.
I will. Yeah.
Thank you very much, mate. And listeners, I hope you've enjoyed your time with Brandon. Keep looking out on our Isle of Man Sport Facebook page for updates on our next podcasts. We'll bring some more fantastic guests to you soon. So thank you very much. And Brandon, before you go, if anyone wants to follow you, are you on Twitter or anything like that?
I don't use Twitter anymore, but my Instagram's just Brandon Cain SBX, which stands for Snowboard Cross. Same with my Facebook.
Excellent. Check out Brandon, see how he's getting on, and give him some support, folks. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.